What's up guys, Bionic here and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I have some fresh news for you guys this morning. I want to talk about the new buffs that are coming to two buffs basically in the next patch 1.14. We're going to look at which champions are going to be affected. We're going to go over them sort of one by one. We're not going to cover them all, but I'm definitely going to show the list and then we're going to isolate basically the champions that are going to be affected by this. So you may want to rethink your strategy going forward because some of these buffs I think will have a big impact overall on some of the typical builds that you guys are used to see. So let's jump right in. To do it, we're going to use my list. I think it does a great job at breaking down the roles of each of the champions. It is still a big work in progress, so do not take this literally. I need more opinions perhaps from you guys, and then maybe you can help me decide if I need to switch the roles around. But let's talk about the buffs. The two buffs or debuffs that are being affected is basically the Perfect Veil or Veil, I guess, and then the Leech debuff. Now, originally these were basically, I think the Leech was 10%, right? And here we got the confirmation that it will be increased to 18%. So that is a relatively big increase considering the lifesteal set is at 25%. Now we're looking at 18%. So I'm eager to see if some people are gonna perhaps move towards kind of like the stalwart sets and then try to use the Leech debuff as the sole source of lifesteal, perhaps with a dedicated healer. This might actually become very viable against the clan boss. And then we've got the Veil of Perfect Veil, which is basically going to provide an AoE damage reduction of 7.5% on the regular one and then 15% on the perfect one from AoE attacks only. And I think this is to perhaps differentiate it from the strengthened buff in a sense, but still it is a very nice increase. And this basically means that, let's say we look at Duchess, because we thought she was going to get a big nerf. It turns out it's basically kind of like half of her passive or close to half of her passive, which will be included in the basically Veil of Perfect Veil buff that she does already. Okay, so perhaps not the end of the world for Duchess. I think she's still going to be a very strong and very viable champion. But now let's look at the list, as we want to see which champions are going to be affected by all this. So again, it's very hard to break it down. Okay, there's so many different types of skills. They're not always by themselves, so I tried to group them as much as possible basically as the individual skill itself, but sometimes it just didn't work. Only 3 roles for each champions, especially the legendaries, doesn't always work out, so I had to combine it in a sense. Okay, but if we look at the Perfect Veil or Veil debuffs, we have Duchess, we have the Vizier, we have Yannicka Canderphone. Those are the legendaries. So you may want to start working on these champions. Like I said, they might become a new meta to some extent. Okay, then on the epics, we've got Corpse Collector, Fang Cleric, Infernal Baroness, who I know perhaps for some time was considered to be perhaps useful against the Spider. We've got Senecal, whatever, Hill Nomad, Necro Hunter, and then Steadfast Marshal. What's interesting is that some of them also have the Leech debuff. Okay, so Yannicka has the Leech debuff, and so does Corpse Collector, and I think Canderphone, does he have it? No, I don't think he has. But like I said, you may want to have a second look at these champions and get ready for these changes. Then let's look at what the Leech debuff looks like. So I decided to put the Leech debuff on role number 1 now. I think it's going to be a very dominant debuff to have in some aspects of the game. This is just a prediction. If it doesn't work out this way, what I'll do is I'll move the Leech debuff to perhaps a secondary role or a tertiary role. But let's look at the champions that currently have this in one form or another. We have Foley, fantastic Foley. This guy, he was my first fusion. I would love to try and reuse him against the clan boss. It is a 4-hit, which is also very nice, possibly also good for the Fire Knight, although he is magic against force, so that is not the best, but still it will be nice to try him out again. Then he's got a 4-hit A1 with the decreased defense, and he's also got an AoE turn meter decrease enemies cannot be revived, so possibly against the Ice Golem. If you fused Foley, fantastic. I know I have him and I would love to try and use him a little bit more. Maybe this little buff to the Leech will be just enough to get that done. Then we've got Telegu, very rarely seen or used, but she's going to have the Leech AoE along with the Blood Twin guy, this guy right here, okay? I don't know how to say his name, but he's also kind of a nuker, so maybe this guy will be seen a little bit more in the arena, although he is, I believe, Void. I didn't fill this out, but I'm pretty sure he's a Void champion. Yannicka, didn't she also get a buff recently, but now she's going to have the Leech. She's kind of like a nuker, and then she's got the Perfect Veil as well. So Yannicka might become really, really interesting to use in some content of the game. We'll see. Then we've got some of the epics, the less known guys that will get a buff by this basically buff of the Leech is going to be Knight Errant, Corpse Collector, and Senecal. Again, this is another guy that has basically the two, okay? What's interesting about this guy, Senecal, he's got the Perfect Veil on a 2-turn cooldown. So this might become very interesting. Again, in some aspects of the game, he is a defense type champion. That's always a nice plus, but he's also got a counter attack and an AoE provoke. So with a 100% success chance, on a 1-turn cooldown, this is not the best, but maybe once fully booked, this guy can be perhaps a pain in the arena. We'll see how that works. He's also got a 15% continuous heal on basically whoever he puts the Perfect Veil on, and then he's got that famous Leech. It's only a 30% or 40% once booked, but still, I thought his kit looked a little bit more interesting now because he's getting a buff on both ends. Then we've got some of the rares, Ghoulish Ranger and Temptress. I don't think they'll be used that much more. Maybe early on they might be interesting, but having only like the Leech and HP burn for Ghoulish Ranger and Temptress kind of works with Seducer. I don't have her full kit in here, but I'm not sure she's going to be really that useful. So that's going to be it, guys. Just a quick update on what is coming for patch 1.14, which, if I understood correctly, should be very soon, perhaps next week if we're lucky, early April. I'm pretty sure of that. And before I let you guys go, I just want to remind you guys that the latest giveaway, 4,500 gems, is still ongoing. I'm giving it about another 24 hours, and then I'll go through the comments, try and see who commented on my other videos as well. Hopefully you guys have given some constructive comments as much as possible. I really want to know what you guys think about my channel, how I'm presenting the information, what else would you guys like to see on my channel. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later.